Welcome to a new anime review series. This is a review of Rave Master Anime Review Part 1. Rave Master, of course, based on a manga. Here's one of the trays for it. Written by Hiro Mashima, also the same guy who created Fairy Tail. This series didn't last as long as Fairy Tail did. Nope, it did not. This series lasted for 295 chapters. I'm not even done with reading the manga yet. I've only got to the point where the anime got to, this is a bit bizarre for a series. Unlike most series I've watched where it actually had gotten through a good chunk of the manga, this series, this is probably the 7th or 8th series I've watched where they never finished adapting the manga. They never did. Along with this series, there are some other ones basically I've watched where they've never finished the manga, and these are the following. Aside from Rave Master: Bleach, Kamigata Kill, let's see, Hunter x Hunter, Toriko, Soul Eater, and The Gray Man. And you also got to probably include Gintama on that list because the series isn't highlighting. And basically, this is the 8th series I have watched where it has never finished out the manga. Now, where the series stopped at was chapter 95, which I'll talk about that later when I get a chance to get to the arc that adapts that particular what's part of that one. But in the case this one, for this review, I'm only covering the first 12 episodes of the series, which cover the first 3 arcs of the manga. Kind of. Let me explain that. The first 2 episodes, which is the intro arc, the first arc is approximately 8 chapters long. And for some reason, the anime only adapts the second half of it. Yeah, they do a partial adaptation of chapter 1 in episode 2. You see, for episode 1, they adapted chapters 5 through 8. I'm like, really? Why would you start with chapter 5? Well, this is by far the second series I've watched, where instead of starting with the first chapter for the first episode of the series, they start with a chapter that's not the first chapter of the series. In the case, well, I'm not counting Soul Eater because even though episode 4 did start the manga, because they adapted the 3 one-shots first, then chapter 1. That's the way that order that series went. That one doesn't count. The only series I've seen like this where they actually skipped over the first chapter for the pilot was One Piece. Yes, One Piece never adapted chapter 1 for the first episode of the series. That was adapted a few times, adapted for one of the opening title sequences and an OVA, because the series started with chapter 2. Yeah, they started with chapter 2. I don't know why, but they did. Yep. And mostly what happens in these 2 episodes. Now, what Rave Master is that the main character, Haru Glory, who is basically this guy here with the silver hair, and the woman who on the cover looks like that's actually Ellie. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the little snowman character, his name is Plu. Yeah, those of you who watch Fairy Tail, yeah, this is the same type of species that shows up in Fairy Tail. As a matter of fact, the writer of Fairy Tail borrows a lot of character designs from Rave Master, puts in Fairy Tail. Even his current series, Eden Zero, he borrows some stuff in our series as well. Yeah, Plu shows up in the first couple seasons of Fairy Tail. Doesn't do very much after that. I have watched the crossover again between Rave Master and Fairy Tail. It's a good crossover, except it has one small little problem. Characters are seeing this series, it seems like it's a different studio who works in this one. And, excuse me, Ellie looks pretty much the same that she does in this series, like anime-wise, as she does in the other one. Her looks mostly the same, but a lot of the other characters, like Mystica, he actually shows up in episode 3, I think it was. Yeah, he shows up in the second arc of the series, Lance. Yeah, that's pretty much the first time he shows up in episode 3. Yeah, episode 3 he shows up in. And I don't know if it's just me, even though appearance-wise, you can say definitely this is Mystica, the way he looks in the Rave Master Fairy Tail crossover, except he looks completely different than he does in this series. Probably because made by 2 different studios. Not kidding about this. The studio that made the series was Studio Dean. Yes, the last series I've watched where they made a series I have watched was the final season of Rurouni Kenshin. Yes. The same series where the first 2 seasons were made by the same studio who made the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise. Yep, that one. Now, the main character, Huru, he's looking for these things called the Rave Stones. There are 4 of them. And I think he, by the time I got to right now, I think he's found like 1 or 2. Yeah, and he also has to destroy all the Shadow Stones. Yeah, and over the course of 3 arcs, he does destroy 1 stone apiece per arc. In the first arc, he does destroy the first Dark Stone is actually in a bracelet, which he smashes with his big sword. Yep. The second one he smashes, which was actually in another sword, which also breaks his sword in that arc. Yeah, and he also had to, actually it was at the end of the first arc, he had to get his sword fixed. Yeah, it was at the actually end of episode 2. It was like 2 episodes in, oh yeah, his sword breaks. Yep, and then he had to get reforged by a man who goes by Mystica, who is a legendary blacksmith. Yeah, it turns out that the other Mystica, who later becomes one of her best friends, he actually is this guy's grandson. Yep. Yeah, and the main villain in the second arc actually is responsible for killing almost the entire Mystica family, except for this old man and this young guy, who acts like he's a world famous celebrity, and he wants to get ladies to get their autograph from him. Yeah, that's simply the way he is. Also, there's this Digger character. I don't remember if she came back after this one. Yeah, she shows up for the opening 2 episodes, and from what I've seen, she does not return again. Yeah, she's sort of a woman who rebels against the Shadow Guard. Yeah, they're kind of one of the many antagonists of the series. As a matter of fact, there's a group called the Oraceon 6. Yeah, the same name group of people who were villains from Fairy Tail. Same name, different type of people. In the case of Oraceon 6 for this series, they're a group of demons. In Fairy Tail, it's a group of dark mages, though a whole group of evil demons. That was later used for the Tartarus arc. Yep, because the creator of the series love reusing concepts. Ellie is basically, now for the characters you start out with the first 4 episodes, her glory is the Rave Master, and carries on this big ass sword and a little key that basically turns it like orange. And I'm watching the dub, and it's made by the same people who released the manga, Tokyo Pop, which is one of 2 I can think of a publication firm where they also do dubs, and they do dub for Rave Master. And here's the thing, I looked up who voices Haru Glory in the dub, and it's the same actor who voices Sasuke from Naruto. Not kidding about that. As for everybody else, I'm not all that familiar with them at all. Also, I looked up who he's actually married to. The actor who plays Sasuke. He's married to Tara Platt, who actually played one of my favorite characters, played my second favorite female character from Naruto, Tamari. And she's popped up in one other series, popped up also in Bushiruken. Yeah, and that series was also dubbed by Viz Media. Yeah, this is by far for Tokyo Pop. This is the first one I've actually encountered where it's one of their dubs. I gotta say, dialogue-wise, it's not terrible. No, but I have heard they're kind of like 4Kids where they do stupid edits for some strange reason. Yeah. And the way the series goes, it seems like it's in modern day somewhat, but there are no regular cars. Apparently there are blimps, very open blimps. Apparently there are buses, because they reference the buses a lot. And the main character's from a place called Garage Island. I'm like, that's a weird name for an island. Garage Island. Yep. As for Ellie, who becomes his girlfriend later on in the series, and his future wife, and the mother of his only child. Yes. She is a woman who suffers from amnesia, and it takes a while to finally get to it, of why she suffers from amnesia. Yeah, it's not until arc that comes much later in the series they explain her. But she's a woman, she's basically a brunette, wears a tank top with it looks like a heart cross on it. A mini skirt, looks like, I'd say, boots, and she carries a couple, like, batons. and fires them off like guns, which kind of makes it the show's version of Nami. Yeah, kind of is. Her face is very similar to Nami's in One Piece. I'm not kidding. Her face is very, very similar. I wouldn't say it's an exact carbon copy, and at least at least this guy does not draw the women with hourglass figures for no reason at all. Yep. As for Haru dresses, he dresses basically like a normal person, like a like an open jacket, a white T-shirt, jeans, pants, regular shoes. He dresses like a normal person. Yeah, they go to the various places which have the weirdest names. Like, there's a place called Punk Street, which is where the Lance arc takes place, and it is basically a punk town. Yep. The intro arc is set in a place called Hip Hop City. Man, this series has got a ton of music references to it, which is kind of odd. There's also a village. The third arc is basically called the Sky Village. I think, oh, yeah, it's in the sky. Nope, it's on the ground. Yeah, and the thing with Lance himself, the main villain in the second arc, he actually has a past with the character the Swords Mystica and the Thief Mystica. Yeah, he actually massacred these. He actually was the one who massacred the Mystica family. And I'm thinking though, has this guy ever been arrested for killing women and children? Yeah, and later on he does get arrested. And the first two Darkstones are actually destroyed by Haru himself. The third one, Plu destroys, which was actually in a hammer. I thought that was weird. Yeah, they also get introduced to a few other characters like Mystica. There's this talking, like, Play-Doh whatever thing called Griff. Yeah, though in the Rave Master fairy tale crossover, he's depicted as a pervert. Here, he's kind of like that, but not over the top like he is in that particular OVA. Though at least they kept his design pretty much the same, which I'm so happy with that. And they chop around this cart that looks like it's basically run by a strange looking kangaroo with a head doing this. Kind of doing that the whole time. Yeah. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, when it goes on autopilot, just give him a piece of paper, it goes on autopilot. Which is a little odd. Yep. Let's see what else. They kind of do a follow-up of the whole thing of the two Mysticas. They find out that, yeah, this Mystica is actually his old man's grandson. Yeah, and it turns out and he has a tattoo on his left arm, and the younger Mystica has a tattoo on his right arm. But the same exact tattoo, and he knew all along that was actually not on his left arm. Yep, what else? Let's see. They do reveal a little bit over the course of these episodes, a little about the Rave themselves. They even show in the opening episode of the series kind of how this whole thing started. They even show in the opening title sequence of every episode about a previous Rave Master, 50 years before the presence of the series, takes on a giant Darkstone, slices it in half, and apparently its explosion takes out a tenth of the world's population. How? How does an explosion from a stone take out a tenth of the population? 1/10. It's kind of ridiculous, to say the least. But you can definitely kind of say this takes place in semi-modern day, because the whole thing of seeing some vehicles. But a lot of the time, these characters do a lot of walking. Yeah. Also, I got to point out that Plu is one of the most adorable characters in this whole franchise. And it's quite interesting, though, that the creator of the guy who became later creator of his show, Mishima, who bringing back the character Plu as a celestial spirit for Lucy. Also, I forgot to point out, though, when I originally talked about my review for the crossover between Rave Master and Fairy Tail, Lucy doesn't summon any of her spirits. I'm like, seriously? She doesn't? There's no reason why she doesn't. I mean, she has these damn spirits and she doesn't summon them. At all. I kind of think that if this particular OVA was dubbed, they could mention, oh yeah, Oration 6. And of course, her would be like, Oration 6? You mean the group of demons I fought in my own series of adventures? And of course, not to be like, oh, you mean the series of dark sorcerers I had to face off in My own series, something like that. Yeah, but I talked to Tom Herricker about that. Even he doesn't know why the OVAs were never dubbed. I would love to see him dubbed. Even he would love to see. He would probably love to do because he loves doing stuff for Fairy Tail. But in case of episodes I have watched so far, it's actually a pretty damn good series. And one thing I noticed about the style of animation, it looks very similar to that of Shaman King. Yeah, I'm a little surprised about that. It's very similar style, but even though it's not made by the same studio as Shaman King, it's very similar to it. And of course, the Gray Man, when I watched that, that was very similar to the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Yeah, but when it comes to anime, I've never heard anybody talk about Raid Master. I mean, some people talk about Fairy Tail, One Piece, and some other series, but not this one, surprisingly. Yeah, maybe because people didn't like the dub. I gotta say, dialogue-wise, it's fine. It's just that I know that from what I've read about Tokyo Pop, they occasionally do kind of a similar style thing where they edit stuff out similar to that for kids. But for kids, it's way more noticeable than Tokyo Pop tends to be. hmm Yeah, but not much else to say. But that's particularly it for this particular review. Oh yeah, and as for the story for forgot the story of the Dancing Thunder arc. Yeah, we loosely start maybe a connection to Lucy's not Lucy, Ellie's past. They take on the main villain Go. That's Furious's name Go. Him and his character Rosie, lovely woman, and apparently her ability is that she can turn on music and cause people to dance. And of course, Go's got this giant hammer. And he acts like he's a big movie star, which he kind of is. And his smoking hot girlfriend is basically his actress. And they do get a chance to explain about this mysterious man and Urza's backstory, not Urza, Ellie's backstory. And when I first saw this, even reading the manga, I'm like, is that Jalal from Fairy Tail? It actually is not Jalal at all. Basically, Mishima reused that design for Jalal. He even has the same tattoos, same blue hair. Matter of fact, same exact attire as Jalal, and yet this is not Jalal at all. If you see this guy, you're probably thinking, that's Jalal from Fairy Tail. What the heck is doing Raid Master? Same creator. He reused that same design for Jalal. Yeah, and I think he does encounter him in later on arcs. But apparently this guy is also the key to Ellie's past. Also, how she got her name Ellie is that it's a tattoo on her arm. Which they barely show anyways. Trying to think though. Yeah, the whole thing with dancing, that was a little bit of a weird arc this was. Yeah, Dancing Thunder. A lot of men dancing, and of course Ellie being confused with the Raid Master because she was the first one to walk in the door. Yep. And it was real that her was the Raid Master, like, all shocked. Seems like everybody's always shocked whenever they find out he's the Raid Master. Yeah, it's not like, let's say, in Iron Fist where it's unbelievable. They're just shocked that he's the Raid Master. And apparently everybody has heard of the term rave. Or at least Rave Master. When I think of the word rave aside from this, I think of like a big music concert, an underground music concert. That's what I think of a rave. Well, at least kind of like a night rave anyways. Here, Rave is just basically a master swordsman who just happened to be a world savior. So that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for tomorrow for my review of part 2, along with the review of the first double episode of the continuation of Fairy Tail. Expect to see that tomorrow. And maybe a comic corner if I'm really lucky, I might get a chance to do that. Okay, but until the next review. Bye.